this project that we are very proud of, but also it doesn't make a lot of sense because it shouldn't have happened. The miracle of the St. John's Bible is that it got done. And we're always amazed at who comes and sees the St. John's Bible. We're always amazed at where we end up. I mean, just last year, I think a year ago, I found myself walking down the aisle with the Archbishop of Canterbury. Wow. And giving the thing, and taking the Bible and showing it that. And then the next day we had kind of another important visitor show up on our doorstep. And he turned around and there it is. There's the St. John's Bible. And he's looking at it. To, the predecessor here. It's been all over. We never know who was going to show up and see the St. John's Bible. The young man who drove the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile that year was a Johnny. And he said, I had to bring my friends to see this thing called the St. John's Bible as well. So he showed up on campus. So this thing. We're often asked, why did you do it? Explain that already. But how did it get started? Well, people have to realize the St. John's Bible is something we never thought about doing, never wanted to do, and we'll never do it again. We're very proud of the fact that we did do it. This wasn't our idea. It was the idea of this man right here. There he is, Donald Jackson. Donald Jackson is one of the world's foremost professional calligraphers. In fact, he is probably considered the foremost Western scribe in the world. And for many years, he was so good that for many years, his primary client was the most famous woman in the world, Queen Elizabeth. He held her job as senior scribe to the House of Lords for Queen Elizabeth for just shy, like months shy of 50 years. The longest, he held that position longer than anyone in the history of the world. And the story of the St. John's Bible is Donald's story because it was his idea. He came to us with the idea of handwriting the Bible. But actually, the idea started a lot earlier than you can even imagine. But just to show you how talented this man is, as a child, Donald's favorite thing in the world would be to go to the local art museum after school or the local library, and he'd take his tablet, in those days it was a paper tablet, and he'd take his tablet and pencils, he'd look at the display cases, and he would recreate what he saw. Now, what did you do when you were 10 years old? I mean, think about that. I wasn't sitting in a museum copying artworks, and I wasn't doing this. That's a letter M that Donald Jackson made around the age of 10. Isn't that incredible? Think of the students you have in Hillbury right now. Seriously, some of them are probably thinking this way. And Donald Jackson said, I used to go in the museum and I would copy what the ancient manuscripts, what the ancient scribes did on their manuscripts. I would look at how they blended their color, bent their gold, laid their lines, and he said, soon, by studying the masters, that's how I became a master. What a great lesson for any one of us. And he said, right around this age, a few years later, around age 13, Donald said, I had finished something I had done, and I put it down on the table and went, I'm good. When you think about that, it's like a light bulb hit him. He said, I can do this, and I love it. So right around 13, 14, Donald went away to art school. And at that time, he said, okay, I'm going to make my living with this. So right around that age, he took out a piece of paper and he wrote down a couple of goals for his life. He wrote, when I'm old enough, I want to work for the Queen of England. He wrote that on a piece of paper. He made it happen in his 20s. One of the youngest people ever employed as a royal scribe. And the second thing on that piece of paper, written in the most illegible handwriting, which I love, is he said, when I've practiced long and hard, I want to do what scribes have done for centuries, handwrite scripture. Think about that. Again, what would you have written at age 13? I taught elementary school for all those years. I never once met a 13-year-old that wanted to handwrite the Bible. It would have been fascinating to be his teacher, but probably not his friend. I wonder what that would have been like. So Donald Jackson, this man over in Wales who has this childhood dream, somehow gets connected with this group of monks in the middle of the cornfields of Minnesota. And do you know that in this very room, you have the connection? Mary, Sister Mary. It was Sister Mary's sister-in-law, the wife of her brother Bob, who encouraged Donald Jackson. She was a good friend of his, took calligraphy classes from him, and she encouraged Donald Jackson to come to St. John's and ask us what we're doing to mark the millennium. So right here in this room, we have the foundation of the St. John's Bible. And a couple of her daughters are here as well. So Joe convinces Donald to go to St. John's, and he asks us in 1995, what are you doing to mark the millennium? We had no idea. And he simply said, would you like the handwritten word of God, and would you help me do it? And the miracle is we said yes. Because as I said, it makes no sense. Now, Donald Jackson had the talent. You saw that from his 13-year-old self. He now had St. John's buying into this, so he had financial support, he had theological support. What he didn't have enough of was
money.
Well, money came from us. And the donors, I should say. He didn't have enough time. He was in his 50s, and he knew he could not do this by himself. So he had to put together a team. This is the team that created the St. John's Bible. Right there's your sister-in-law. There's Joe White. And right there in the middle, you see here, Joe is surrounded by all these people that she brought together. Because the St. John's Bible is a work by a community. The Bible, by its very nature, if you had one word to describe the Bible, it probably should be communal. Because the Bible, by its very nature, is meant to be shared. No matter what copy or translation or version it is, the Bible is communal by its very nature. And so communal that it took a community to create it. This community of scribes, there's Donald, there's his wife Mabel. This community of artists, calligraphers, people who Sarah Harris's job, her job was to draw every pencil line on every page that the scribes would write on. And then her job was to erase every pencil line around 4.3 million letters. Sally Sargent hardly ever smiled in the 15 years she worked with us, except when she found a mistake. And then she would get this huge, excited grin on her face because she was the proofreader. And she loved to shout out, "Gotcha!" in the middle of the studio. Diane, one of our artists. You may even own a work of art by Diane von Arx and not know it. She lives in Otsego. Have you ever bought a box of General Mills cereal? Diane designed the names of the boxes. Her very first lettering she did for General Mills was Count Chocula. And they still use it today. Isn't that cool? And then she did the St. John's Bible. Thomas and Suzanne, who are in the United States. Izzy, a Hebrew sofer. He did all the beautiful Hebrew calligraphy in the St. John's Bible, because if you get it even just a titch angled differently, it means something else. So they had to bring in a professional scribe. And when he was asked to work on this big Catholic Bible, he said, "Oh, I don't think I should." So he went to his rabbi. And he went to his rabbi and he said, "I've been asked to work on this Christian Bible, and it's for a Catholic group. I don't think I should do it. What do you think?" And his rabbi said, "Of course you should do it. It's the most Jewish thing you could do." And he did it. The Hebrew lettering is stunning. This collective team would work together for just shy of 15 years to make one copy of the Bible. 26 people, 15 years. And they did it on beautiful skins of cow leather, calfskin vellum. Because leather is durable. And if you make a mistake on leather, you can fix it. They wrote it starting in the year 2000 with a turkey, swan, or goose feather. They used a quill, not because they were trying to recreate the past, but because if you think about it, put a quill in your hand, put a feather in your hand, what's the first thing that strikes you?
How light it is.
It has no weight. And if you're going to write for 7 years, you want the most comfortable thing you can have in your hand. Plus, the quill conforms to your hand, it glides on the skin, and so on. And then they used inks that were made in the 1800s out of Chinese soot taken from candle smoking or burning. So the inks on the St. John's Bible are actually candle smoke. And look at this image. I love this slide. Because this slide shows you what an artist's hand can do with a cow skin, a turkey feather, and some candle smoke. And if that doesn't impress you, there is the door. When you come to St. John's, we're only 80 some miles away. When you come to St. John's and see the real pages, you're looking at what an artist did with candle smoke on a cowskin. That's pretty impressive. And if we could bring back to life any medieval scribe from 800 years ago, he or she would recognize every single thing we did. Because these materials were not chosen to recreate the past, they were chosen because they are simply no better way to do it. This community of scribes from centuries ago have passed down their skills from scribe to scribe to scribe to scribe, until they ended up with your sister-in-law, your mother, and Donald, and all these people coming together to make one copy of the Bible. That's how it was made. And there's so much more in how it was made. And the minutia of how it was made is as fascinating as the thing itself. But now let's start getting into it. We need you involved. You've come to St. John's. You've asked us to make the Bible. Okay, you're all artists. And we say, okay, but now, how is this going to be different than any other medieval Bible that's already out there? Because making a Bible with pictures and artworks and handwritten is nothing new. We've got 800 of them on the wall already. We've got another several thousand in the rare book collection. How is this going to be different? We also have to convince donors to do this. We need you to make a page. You get one passage in the entire Bible. Okay? You get one passage, and through that passage, you have to show us that you deserve the greatest commission in your life. As big as the Sistine Chapel's commission. As big as any commission in the last 500 years. You have to show us, and you have to show donors, that this is going to be different. What passage would you choose? I'm asking.
The sower and the seed.
Oh, that's a good one. No. No, sorry. Oh, the greatest of these is love. That's beautiful. We have too much love in the world. Didn't choose that one either. What would you choose?
Nativity.
Pardon?
Nativity.
Oh, nativity. If you can make the nativity a little different. Think of nativity. What are you seeing right now? Baby Jesus and the cannibals, right? Can't do that. We didn't choose that one. Other voices. What would you choose?
Do not be
Oh,
afraid.
resurrection. Do not be afraid. None of those. Those are all too good. Donald said, I know what we're going to do. We are going to do the most boring passage in the entire Bible. Because if we can make that appeal to you, then we've sold you. And the most boring passage in the entire Bible is? No, not in the beginning. That's a good one. That's a good one. The genealogy of Jesus. Oh, it's the beginning of Matthew. It is the most tedious thing in the Bible because it's this pile of names, right? And Donald said, let's do that. And we said, really? He said, yes. Because it may be a pile of names, but it's kind of an important pile of names. And what's the purpose? We're all taught in elementary school, when you start writing a story, you better have a great opener. And what does Matthew do start with? This and this. It's the most terrible opening. But what's the purpose of the genealogy?
Authenticity.
Oh, how do you mean? Unpack that authenticity. What do you mean by that?
Jesus came from real people.
Oh, Jesus is legit. They gotta prove that. It's the same thing you did at the last family reunion. Hi, I'm Tim. I'm Marge and Tony's son. I belong here. That's what's happening there. So it's an important transition between Old and New Testament. This new character is legit. How can we show that legitimacy? And remember, the Bible is, by its very nature, come on, you're failing my 5th grade class. Communal, 5th graders, communal. It's communal, so it has to include all of us in that genealogy. So how do we show you the genealogy of Jesus? And it turned out like this. Maybe? There we go. The genealogy of Jesus. This is the page that started it all. Just look at it. Let your eyes pore over it. Unpack it together. Yeah, we almost always get a little wow. You see this? And what do you have here? You have Christ's family tree. And it begins up here with Jesus in English and Hebrew. There's Izzy's one. Mary and Joseph, his parents, English and Hebrew. Other family members written in English and Hebrew all the way down to the base where you find Abraham. But look who joins Abraham.
Sarah.
And Hagar is written in English, Hebrew, and Arabic. Because she led to as the mother of Ishmael, the whole Islamic nation. Think about it that way. But look again. You've got this beautiful page written in beautiful calligraphy, filled with strands of highly polished 24 karat gold. So you've got the genealogy there. The names are all there, everything, but it can't stop there. Because remember, we have to be involved. The rule of Benedict says, you must welcome everyone. So even the things we create have to be welcoming. What do you notice about Christ's family tree? Yes, it's a menorah structure. It looks like a menorah. But look carefully. That menorah is lit with Islamic arabesques. Behind the menorah is a swirling mandala. Many Eastern traditions use a mandala for centuries. We have a Tibetan-style prayer wheel in the middle where they write scripture on a strip and they roll it up and they wear it on their bodies. So they're always under the Word of God, or the Word of God is always with them. And then they all come together over here to form a Christian cross. But then there's one more thing that Donald put in there. This has to be a Bible for the 21st century. So it has to match how we think about genealogy today. How do you scientifically know you're related to your mother or father?
DNA.
Look carefully at this artwork. Look between the branches of the menorah, and you will see golden strands of DNA. Isn't that cool? And if you look carefully, they're absolutely everywhere. The entire background is filled with DNA strands. But then there's one last thing. The St. John's Bible is an invitation in. It's not a picture book. It's an invitation to come together to make meaning and ultimately decide, what do these passages have to do with me today? How do I fit in this passage? So look at this artwork very carefully. What's going on here? You know what those are? Look at them carefully. Here they are on the whole thing. What do you see? What's happening here? How would you describe those lines?
Strands of hair.
Oh, interesting, strands of hair. What else do they do?
Bones.
Oh, bones. That's fascinating. What else do those little yellow lines do? Open your mouths and your ears. What do they do?
Separate.
Oh, interesting. They do kind of separate, but they also stitch. They weave. They go through together. And they're highly polished 24 karat gold. They are highly polished 24 karat gold. Why is that important? They're highly polished. What happens when you look at a highly polished surface?
You see yourself.
What do you see?
Yourself.
So now, put it all together. Christ's genealogy, the DNA, the inclusion of all of the traditions, and then suddenly what do you see? Yourself. What's your sermon? Turn to the person next to you and tell them. What's it all say? Go ahead, tell the person next to you. Put it all together.
Yeah.
What you are doing right now is exactly the purpose of the Bible. Who cares what I say? Who cares what the theologians that say? It's what do you pull out? And what are you going to talk about with those around you? Because that's when you get down to the nitty-gritty of what these passages mean. And I love this because we are all related, even down through our DNA, all the way down to me. Think about that. And this is the page that started it all. And when this was unveiled, people literally, you can see it reflecting off the glass into them here. This was the unveiling of that page, and they're just dying right into them right there. Each of these artworks are not meant to be pictures of the stories. They are meant to be invitations in. So, there you see the page that started it all. Let's take a look at the next artwork we had to unpack. A simple one. A non-controversial one. How do you take the creation story and make it an invitation in? Because the minute you say creation story, what camps do you have? Figurative, literal, evolution, and so on. I mean, all the way through, and you need to start drawing the line. We don't want to draw lines. We want to invite people to come together to have conversations. Because conversations are the foundations of
Community.
relationships, are the foundations of community. You can't have a community if you don't talk. Okay? And so these are invitations in. So how do you make an invitation with something that there are court cases taking place right now? How do you create a new image of creation when for centuries we have thousands of images of creation? That's what creation looks like. This is an 800-year-old image of God and creation. We know what the creation story is. Try to go to any museum in the world and not see a picture of Adam and Eve someplace. How do you invite people into a conversation that doesn't immediately become literal, or that doesn't immediately become, wait a second, that's not my picture of God? Or this person said, yep, that's my picture of God. And then this person in the back says, wait a second, you should never make a picture of God. It's illegal. So how do you do that? How do you create an image of creation that weaves in modern science, weaves in modern values, that is literal to the story, and creates an image of God that doesn't make anybody mad? Turn to the person next to you and tell them, how would you do it? How would you make an image of creation that's invitational, not division? What's that?
Oh my gosh, I've seen this 1,000 times. So I've had 1,000 all wrong.
And I bet in all of your conversations out there right now, you all came up with this. Here it is. Now what I want you to do, I want you to now sit here in total silence. And I want you to look at this. I want you to unpack it with your eyes and ask yourself, what do you see? Because this is creation 800 years later than the one we just saw. Look at it, unpack with your eyes. I'll help you in a second. I'm going to show you the top, middle, and bottom in detail. Just look at it. There's the whole thing. Here is a close-up of the top. Just look at it. Go top. Just unpack with your eyes. And move in. Here's the middle. And finally, here's the bottom. Now, just turn to the person next to you and talk about it. What do you see? What strikes you? What do you think about it? Just talk with the person next to you.
They'll get there.
It is always fun to watch an audience talk about this artwork because suddenly the room becomes full of choir directors. You point at it, you draw your eyes to it. What's the first thing somebody noticed about this? Yeah, almost everyone says either the dove or 7 slices. Why is the dove blue?
You know, I can hardly hear something. It's depressed.
He's looked at the world and he's a little bit depressed. That's what's going on. Yes, that's one take on it. There we go. She must have gone to St. Thomas. I'd be depressed too. Why is it dark? What could it be besides being a depressed dove? What could it possibly be? It could be nighttime, because the whole thing was about darkness and light at the start. What else could it be? I have teacher ears, I can hear anything. Someone said shadow. I have teacher ears, I can. If it's a shadow, what does that imply? Could be, I never thought about that. No. Yeah, you have to have light to have a shadow. But it's something above us, watching over us. What's the dove doing? Flying, and what else? Why is it in there? Oh, it's a spirit, but why is it in there? What's its purpose? What's it telling you? Oh, it covers many areas. What else does it do?
Invites.
Ah, yes, follow me. Come on, let's go for a fly. Let's go. Let's look over things. It's hovering over us. It's watching over us. It's there. It's a presence that covers over many, that includes many. There's many ways you can keep talking about it. What if it's a raven? Come on, Benedictines. Maybe it's a raven. Could be those things. Yes, it could be any of those things. What else? I heard people say 7. Yeah, we said make it literal, correct? You could tell the story. How does it begin? Darkness and?
Light.
Yes, and? How's it very, in the beginning was what? Look at that first slice. What's happening here? Describe the first slice. It's chaos, it's a mess. But look carefully. Is that first slice really a mess? What do you see in there? Do you see anything in the first slice? What? Okay, you see some Hebrew down here. You're calling it Hebrew. Let's back up a little bit. Anybody here read this? If you can, that's okay. Don't tell us. For those of us who can't read it, what could it say? Could be the word. What else could it say? Beginning. It does not say Donald Jackson. But more importantly, why is it there? Oh, so what are you saying this is? In the beginning was, and the Word was. And what happens? And from this point, what happens? Everything. And look also in that chaotic first stripe. Do you see anything in there that's not chaotic? Look. Do you see that? In the middle of all this, there's a thin band of gold. Why? Oh, it's holding it all together. Creation begins, someone just said. And God said, let there be light. Could be any of those things. It's almost as if it's like, okay, go. You can start. And then you unpack it. Do you see any modern science? We said we've been modern science. What? What's the modern science in here? Oh, I heard someone say something. Modern science. There's your Big Bang Theory, right in the middle, right in the beginning. Boom, there it starts. Do you see the orbits? Do you see the planetary orbits? The sun ruled by day, moon ruled by night. Had Donald Jackson put those orbits in the Bible 800 years ago, the church would have locked him away in prison. We understand that we evolve around the world or something. Any mathematicians recognize these? Those are mathematical fractals. Scientists use fractal geometry and chaos theory. You can use fractals to mathematically calculate how a tree branch is going to grow. And we could go on and on and on and on. What is the one thing that is present in every single day? Look, do you see the gold squares?
Yeah.
What? Talk to the person next to you. What do those gold squares do? What do the gold squares do? They draw you up. What else they do? They count to 7. Yes. What else they do? They connect. They weave. They lead you forward. What shape do they make? A triangle. Do you see the triangle? There you go. 7 by 7 by 7. Look at the last slice. What else do the gold squares tell you? This square connects to what happens here. These connect to what happens here. These 3 connect to what happens here. These 7 connect to. Oh, someone said us. That's pretty cool. Or what else?
Future.
The future. Creation's not done. And those gold squares are exactly that. Polished 24-karat gold squares. So what else is in this image? You are. And once again, if you had time, you put it all together in your mini sermon. And you say, now, how am I part of the creation story? How do I bring this forward? How do I weave in? And there's so much in here we didn't talk about, and that's okay. You don't need to know that that is actually a satellite image of the Ganges River Delta. You don't need to know that that's an image of a huntress from a cave painting in Nigeria, one of the oldest images of a woman we have on the planet. You don't need to know those things to have the conversations that you had. And how does each one of these begin? They began at St. John's with a committee. Never heard of St. John's Bible, but it is a work by committee. So this is a group of theologians, artists, and scholars that they would sit around from our community, and they chose the 160 passages to get art. Then they thought about it theologically, they brainstormed some visual ideas, and they put it in together in the most uninspirational format possible, a 3-ring typed binder. And that's what they gave these beautifully visual artists. And they said, here's a bunch of notes. Here are our visual ideas. Make something out of them. And they did. These briefs contain 3 parts. And the artists would get that. The community, they would come together. Donald would assign each artist a section or a page or whatever it would be doing, and they would take those notes and they would start making drafts. Here's Donald's draft for the creation story. He would make it in collage form. You can see how he cut things up and pasted it together, and he could move it around based on feedback. He would then show that final draft to the committee, and they would begin a dialogue. It was never an approval process. It was a communal conversation. They would continue talking until the artist and the commissioner could both say, these are theologically and artistically sound. Not right, but sound. And then they would do it on film. That process would take anywhere from 4 to 8 months, and when it was finally agreed upon, Donald would then turn his sketch into the finished work. 4 to 8 months times 160 primary artworks. You can see why this took 15 years. So, the most boring passage in the Bible, it's one of the most controversial passages in the Bible, to yet another one That's not an easy one. How do you make an invitation into the Ten Commandments where there is no right, where there is no gray area? Okay, the Ten Commandments are the Ten Commandments. Nothing to discuss with those. Or is it? We know what the Ten Commandments should look like. We've been told that for centuries. To have an image of the Ten Commandments, what do you have to have? Tablets. Nothing you can do. You have to have tablets. Here's Moses getting the tablets. And sometimes Moses is too afraid to even look when he gets the tablets. So what could an image of the Ten Commandments look like today? Who knows? You still got your tablets. But what if it turned out like this? And what if there was no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Because what's the meaning of the Ten Commandments? And who said there were only 10? You know, there's a lot more commandments in the Bible. Who chose those 10? How do those 10 get picked out? So the minute we start hanging our hat on the numbers, what do we lose sight of?
What they
Yes, the bigger picture. The reason for the Ten Commandments are what?
To live together in love.
To get together in love, which is the definition of community. The Ten Commandments are a communal invitation. There are a few guidelines. So look at this. Look at this whole artwork. Study it with your eyes, and it starts at the bottom like this. Not what you expected. Oh, someone's doing some investigating. Look at it. Do you see it? Do you see anything in there? If you look carefully, it looks like a mess, doesn't it? But it's not. I am the Lord. There's order amidst the chaos. But as you get then to the body of the commandments, look, they're all there. But look, there they are again. And then you get to the top. Not quite so easy to read. Why are the Ten Commandments lettering like this? If you look at the whole thing, what's the easiest part to read?
Here I am.
Here I am. The basic reduction of the whole thing. If you describe the Ten Commandments in one word, that's what? Love. As one woman looked at this, she said, the clearest thing I can see is that here I am, and it's written in 24 karat gold. So what else could she see?
Herself.
So as you look at this, what's the message if you read it this way? What's the message if you read the commandments, if you read this artwork this way?
Enlightenment.
Out of chaos, how do you get to order and clarity? Through God. And what happens if you read it this way? You want to get into chaos? The further away you get from, and that reflective nature, each other. Yeah. Well, yeah, you can go either way. But again, it's not about let's put them on the wall. Let's make a poster of the Ten Commandments. Let's talk about what purpose they really serve. Then they would have to deal with concepts as well as passages. The wisdom books. And sometimes they would get stuck on a single question. Think about that. How do you see wisdom? How do you know wisdom when you see it? Someone said age. Pardon? Calm. Ooh, that's powerful. How do you see calm? How do you see calm above it all?
No chaos.
How do you see no chaos, like in the Ten Commandments? How do you see simple? You see the problem?
You just feel it.
Okay, but you can't feel it on a page. You got to create something. How do you show wisdom? How do you see wisdom? I'm asking you. What would you do to show wisdom?
Peaceful unity.
How do you show peaceful unity? You see the problem we're getting here?
Well, we can't do all the work.
No, I know. Oh, you can't. Yes. So, what do we need? What do we need to focus us? No, not. Sit down over there. But yes. But what do you think focused the committee? What's missing? Come on.
Community.
And yes. And what is a perfect example of community?
The Trinity.
Yes, the Bible. So what are we missing here? We need something to focus us. Here are the words that focused the committee. Now look at those words. How now do you see wisdom? Oh, you just said, I see it as a mirror. That's powerful. Can you build on that? What else are you going to see? What are you going to see in that mirror? Life? How do you see? How do you show life on a page? What's the first thing you said? Oh, you said someone said age. Okay. Focusing on the words. Many times they landed on the words, and it took their random conversation and lasered it in, so they could take random thoughts and they could become this. For she is the image of reflected light. Take a look at her. What do you see?
Age.
Do you see calm? Do you see age? Do you see a mirror? Do you see from, and someone said you see from above? Do you notice the cosmic nature? What else do you see?
Different faces.
It's actually one face, but you're seeing, different times of her, different levels of her. What else do you see?
Different ethnicities.
Yes, you have no idea. What else do you see?
A little veil line.
Oh, it looked like nails. Look at them again. What are they?
It's like time.
It's the lunar cycle. And it's also in what? Look at it. It's hard to tell, but it's also polished silver and polished gold. What's going to happen?
It's gonna reflect.
Because where else is there wisdom? And if you're looking at this artwork with your best friend, you're going to see your best friend and go, oh, there's some wisdom in you too. And then someone you can't stand looks over your shoulder. There's some wisdom in that person too. You have to acknowledge that. For she is a reflection of eternal light. And that is our beautiful wisdom.
Is it saying invest in gold?
Pardon?
Is it saying invest in gold?
Yes. If you haven't done that by now, you're too late. It's already got like $4,000 an hour. We have this beautiful woman, and if you notice, what's the shape she's in? There's your hand mirror somewhere. It's a cruciform, but it's also a hand mirror. If we had more time to give you time to think and unpack and discuss, you'd be amazed what you come up with. So let's wrap up our time here. We're going to the next room. With one, what I'm not going to tell you what it is. Here is a clicker that's not working. I'm going to show you this image, and I want you to sit in silence and look at it. And ask yourself what words, emotions, and feelings come to mind. How would you describe this? There's the whole artwork. Let me help you again. Here's the top. Just look at it. Here's the middle. Here's the bottom. Now, just start calling out some words. What words come to mind as you look at this?
Crucifixion.
No crucifixion. What else?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. What else?
ISIS.
Oh, ISIS. Yes. What else?
Ladder.
Pardon?
Ladder.
Ladder. Interesting. What else?
We are healed.
Come on. What else? What emotions come to mind?
Despair.
Despair. Darkness. What else? Oh, what did you say? Fire and sin. Interesting.
What you have.
Oh, what?
Yes.
There's
Oh.
a reflection right at the top.
Look. But she's saying, wait, but look. Look. What else is in there?
Gold.
And color. And light. And form. What would you title it? Penance. That's a good word. What would you title it?
Journey.
Oh, there's a change, there's a pathway coming. A journey of penance.
Death to life.
From death to life, a journey. What else would you call it?
Life.
Oh, just basic life.
Eternal.
And you're going to climb that ladder to get there. But what if we added this to it? Read those words again. And now think about those words as you look at the image. What strikes you?
Going through the tribulations of today, you will reach reward eventually.
Going through the tribulations of today will reach a reward.
Instead of climbing the ladder, it could be supported by people forming the different rungs of the ladder. to
Oh,
support them and
by
lift them up.
climbing the ladder, we're supported by different people at different rungs. What else? Anything else? Our passage is this. It's our suffering servant. If we'd taken the time to think about it, read the passage, we might have a different, might lead us to a different conversation. But now, let's pretend we read the passage, we've looked at this artwork, and now we have to figure out what questions could we ask people today that would make us think about this artwork or about this passage. What questions could you ask each other today that would ignite the conversation? What would you ask, sister?
Who is the suffering servant that Christ would reach out to in your life?
Oh, that's beautiful. Who was a suffering servant that Christ would reach out to? Yes, some good hands.
Where would you find support for your life in your search for God?
Yes. Where else? Come on, other questions.
From an economic standpoint, what might be hard today is necessary to get to a better place tomorrow.
Well, you know what? I'm going to show you some people that will blow you guys out of the water. I do this all the time. You're a school setting. What if you ask your high school students what they come up? What if you ask some college students what they come up? And here is what they said. It's a pretty powerful question from an 18-year-old. How about this one? But it makes you think, doesn't it? Or this question. Yeah. Or this one. Did you see the fence? Look at this question. Especially when one of you in this room said ISIS. And then I love this question. And finally, they pose this one. The St. John's Bible is an invitation. It's an invitation to come together with others to make meaning. It's an invitation that we need to extend to the next generation. The St. John's Bible has 160 beautiful images that are all designed to be invitations to come together to make meaning. And you're considering bringing this to Hill Murray. This can be an invitation into conversation across generations, across ideology, across you name it. The St. John's Bible. The legacy of the St. John's Bible won't be the fact that we made it. The legacy will be what you end up doing with it. Think of these questions written by people that you serve. As you transition to see the Bible now with Dr. John Ross, kind of ask yourself, what would you ask? How would you invite? And how would you extend the communal nature of the Word? And that is your introduction from adult. Okay, we're done.